Hi, my name is Jawanza Williams, and I'll be talking about age-appropriate care. And age-appropriate care is basically how you treat a person depending on their age. So you wouldn't talk to an infant like they're an adult. You wouldn't tell an infant that, oh, you need to go do this, this, and this. And you wouldn't tell an elderly person like, okay, today we're gonna be like this, and today we're gonna be like this. And with age-appropriate care, there's 3 main areas that a person needs to adjust. And the first one is communication. And there's 2 different kind of barriers to communication that might block communication. The first is physical barriers. And examples of physical barriers are hearing impairments, noise level, and the language barriers. For hearing impairments, a nurse can check a person's hearing aid or make sure they're facing them while they're talking, so that way they understand them. For noise level, you can always check to see that TVs or radios are turned down, or if it's noise coming from outside in the hallway, they can close the door. And for language barriers, you could get a translator so that you can be able to talk to the person, or you can use flashcards with pictures. In mental barriers, there's distrust, emotional state, and closed-mindedness. For distrust, many people coming into a new facility can feel afraid and not trust the nurse that is taking care of them. So you have to build trust by just talking to a person and making sure that they know that you're here to help. For emotional state, a person could be very sad, very angry, and they're not wanting to cooperate. They don't want to talk to you because they're sad, because they're angry. So you have to talk that person down or make the person feel better before you can proceed with your procedures. And closed-mindedness can become both ways. If a patient decides he doesn't want a female nurse or he doesn't want a male nurse, that could make everything all messed up. And if a nurse doesn't like a patient because of their religion or because of their race, that could lead to miscommunication. The next area to adjust is safety and security. It's a nurse's job to remove obstacles, monitor equipment, and make sure the bed is in the lowest position. That's just a few. Obstacles in the room could be like rugs, cables, if you can have a pet, just things on the floor that could end up tripping a patient if they're on their way to the bathroom. You have to monitor equipment like IVs, make sure you do their vital signs, just to make sure everything's safe, that their blood pressure isn't too low, their temperature isn't too high. And the most simplest thing you can do is make sure the bed is in the lowest position, because that can prevent falls or worse falls. And it's also important to teach the patient about how to keep themselves safe. But the problem with trying to teach someone is that they could be receptive to it if they really want to know how to take care of themselves, or they could be in denial about their impairments, that they don't want to be sick, so they don't want to hear what you have to say. Or they could just be offended that you don't think that they can take care of themselves, and they've been doing it their whole life. And the next area to adjust is personal care and comfort. You want to really make sure that their self-esteem is up. So you want to make sure they are as independent as possible. Like, it's okay to help. Like, if a person wants to do their hair, but their left arm doesn't want to work today, you can always help put their makeup on, do their hair, fix their clothes, but make sure they're as independent as possible. Let them do as much as they can. And for comfort, a lot of elderly people like their rooms very warm. So they like their rooms very warm. So you can always ask your RN or a person over you, can you turn the thermostat up? And there's not a thermostat in every room, make sure you provide blankets. And that's all.